Hi, welcome to Discovery Quests. I hope you all are doing great today.
10 things we learned about our human ancestors in 2023. Findings about our human ancestors continue to surprise us, especially those from 2023. Humans are everywhere nowadays, but Homo sapiens and our close relatives weren't so widespread in the past. In fact, the ancestors of modern humans nearly went extinct just under 1 million years ago, and many lineages of human or close human relatives vanished without a trace. We have evidence of their existence only from discovering and studying their fossils. Here's a look back at 10 major findings about humans and our close ancient relatives from 2023, and what they teach us about our own evolution. 10. Ancestors of modern humans nearly went extinct. Nearly 1 million years ago, the ancestors of humans faced a close call with extinction, according to a study in the journal Science. For more than 100,000 years, our numbers hovered at around 1,300 individuals, a minuscule number compared with our current population of 8.1 billion people. Scientists uncovered humans' brush with extinction by looking at the genomes of more than 3,150 modern-day humans from both African and non-African populations. An analytical tool helped them investigate the diversity of today's genetic sequences and work backward to see what happened long ago. They found that between 813,000 and 930,000 years ago, the ancestors of modern humans went through a severe bottleneck when they lost about 98.7% of their breeding population. Talk about a small dating pool. 9. Human relatives crafted wood 476,000 years ago. A new finding in Zambia reveals the oldest known wooden construction shaped by the hands of a human ancestor and demonstrates the ingenuity and technical prowess of our ancient relatives. Archaeologists have discovered the oldest evidence yet of a wooden structure crafted by the hands of a human ancestor. 2 tree trunks, notched like Lincoln logs, were preserved at the bottom of the Kalambo River in Zambia. If the log's estimated 476,000-year-old age is correct, it means that woodworking might predate the emergence of our own species, Homo sapiens, and highlights the intelligence of our hominin ancestors. Archaeologists unearthed the logs at Kalambo Falls, on Lake Tanganyika in northern Zambia, a site that has been investigated by scientists since the 1950s. Previous excavations around a small lake just upstream from the falls yielded stone tools, preserved pollen, and wooden artifacts that have helped researchers understand more about human evolution and culture over the span of hundreds of thousands of years. But a new analysis of 5 modified pieces of wood from Kalambo is pushing back the earliest occupation of the site and giving researchers new insight into the minds of our Middle Pleistocene, 781,000 to 126,000 years ago, ancestors. 300,000-year-old jawbone comes from unknown lineage. Fragments of a jawbone, unearthed in China, have a mosaic of features that are present in both modern and archaic humans, making it difficult to place on the human evolutionary tree. Anthropologists in China have unearthed fragments of a lower jaw that may have belonged to an unknown human lineage. The bone, which is around 300,000 years old, belonged to a young teenager and features a unique mosaic of ancient and modern traits, according to a new study. However, because the fossil traits are open to interpretation, it could also be related to Homo sapiens or our close human relatives, experts told Live Science. Over the last decade, researchers have found the remains of at least 16 individuals at the site of Hualongdong in east-central China, roughly 750 miles, 1,200 kilometers, south of Beijing. A previous analysis of the remains showed they date to between 275,000 and 331,000 years ago, or to the late Middle Pleistocene epoch, 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. This time period is key to understanding the evolution of our own human lineage, but it's complicated by the presence of other now extinct branches of the human tree, such as Neanderthals and Denisovans. Number 7. Two distinct African groups gave rise to modern humans. Before modern humans came onto the scene at least 300,000 years ago, our ancestors consisted of two distinct but closely related groups that lived in Africa, a study in the journal Nature found. Although these two groups had split, people within them continued to mate with the other group over time. For the study, the researchers investigated modern human genomes from southern, eastern, and western Africa. The analysis revealed that Homo sapiens descended from two or more genetically distinct groups that continued to mingle over time. This split happened more than 120,000 years ago, but it's not entirely clear when. The findings suggest our human ancestors didn't interbreed with now extinct human relatives like Homo naledi, whose anatomy is different from ours. It also upends the idea that humans evolved from a single branch that broke off from our closest relatives. Number 6. Modern humans migrated to Europe in 3 waves. Modern humans migrated into Europe in 3 waves, 54,000, 45,000, and 42,000 years ago, a new study claims. It was long thought that modern humans first ventured into Europe about 42,000 years ago, but newly analyzed tools from the Stone Age have upended this idea. Now, evidence suggests that modern humans trekked into Europe in 3 waves between 54,000 and 42,000 years ago. A new study finds our species, Homo sapiens, arose in Africa more than 300,000 years ago, and anatomically, modern humans emerged at least 195,000 years ago. Evidence for the first waves of modern humans outside Africa dates back at least 194,000 years to Israel, and possibly 210,000 years to Greece. For years, the oldest confirmed signs of modern humans in Europe were teeth, about 42,000 years old, that archaeologists had unearthed in Italy and Bulgaria. These ancient groups were likely Proto-Aurignacians, the earliest members of the Aurignacians, the first known hunter-gatherer culture in Europe. Number 5. Tiny fossil is from 40,000-year-old mystery lineage. Scientists have found the oldest DNA evidence yet of humans' biological history. But instead of neatly clarifying human evolution, the finding is adding new mysteries. In a paper in the journal Nature, scientists reported Wednesday that they had retrieved ancient human DNA from a fossil dating back about 400,000 years, shattering the previous record of 100,000 years. The fossil, a thigh bone found in Spain, had previously seemed to many experts to belong to a forerunner of Neanderthals. But its DNA tells a very different story. It most closely resembles DNA from an enigmatic lineage of humans known as Denisovans. Until now, Denisovans were known only from DNA retrieved from 80,000-year-old remains in Siberia, 4,000 miles east of where the new DNA was found. The mismatch between the anatomical and genetic evidence surprised the scientists, who are now rethinking human evolution over the past few 100,000 years. It is possible, for example, that there are many extinct human populations that scientists have yet to discover. They might have interbred, swapping DNA. Scientists hope that further studies of extremely ancient human DNA will clarify the mystery. 4. Europe's first permanent residents settled in Crimea. The first modern humans to take up permanent residence in Europe settled in Crimea around 37,000 years ago, according to an analysis of their DNA. Within 7,000 years, their descendants gave rise to a culture that included Venus figurines, stone tools, and jewelry. Although anthropologists have long known that some human groups began leaving Africa around 60,000 years ago, most of them were nomadic, not staying long in any particular area. And around 40,000 years ago, a supervolcano in southern Italy wiped out most of the humans and Neanderthals in Europe. These events have led anthropologists to wonder when the ancestors of today's Europeans arrived and decided to settle down. An international team of researchers now believes they have found Europe's first permanent residence among a collection of skeletons from the site of Burankaya IE on the Crimean Peninsula. They published their findings Oct. 23 in the journal Nature, Ecology and Evolution. Number 3, unknown. Hunter-gatherer lineage discovered, the largest study yet to look at the genetics of Ice Age. Hunter-gatherers in Europe has uncovered a previously unknown lineage dubbed the Fornol. A previously unknown lineage of Europeans survived the coldest parts of the last Ice Age, only to vanish when Europe went through a warm spell starting about 15,000 years ago. The discovery comes from the largest study yet to look at the genetic makeup of Ice Age European hunter-gatherers. For most of the past 100,000 years, glaciers covered much of Europe. Starting about 45,000 years ago, hunter-gatherers began arriving in Europe from Africa through the Near East, toughing it out during the last glacial maximum, roughly 25,000 to 19,000 years ago, the coldest part of the last Ice Age. Archaeologists know about the first modern humans in Europe from the artifacts they left behind. However, few human fossils remain from those early cultures. So little is known about how these ancient people migrated and were related to one another. To shed light on this ancient time, scientists have now collected the largest known database of prehistoric European hunter-gatherer genomes. They analyzed the genomes of 356 ancient hunter-gatherers who lived between 35,000 and 5,000 years ago in what are now 34 countries across Eurasia. This included new data from 116 individuals. Number 2. The First Americans. A study of skulls excavated from the tip of Baja California in Mexico suggests that the first Americans may not have been the ancestors of today's Amerindians, but another people who came from Southeast Asia and the Southern Pacific area. The question of who colonized the Americas and when has long been hotly debated. Traditionally, Native Americans are believed to have descended from Northeast Asia, arriving over a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska some 12,000 years ago and then migrating across North and South America. But recent research, including the Baja California study, indicates that the initial settlement of the continent was instead driven by Southeast Asians who occupied Australia 60,000 years ago and then expanded into the Americas about 13,500 years ago, prior to Mongoloid people arriving from Northeast Asia. The skulls from Baja California, which may date back only a few hundred years, have slender-looking faces that are different from the broad-cheeked craniums of modern Amerindians, the descendants of the Mongoloid people. Our results change the traditional idea that all modern Amerindians present morphological affinities with East Asians as a result of a single migration, said Rolando González Llosa C. of the University of Barcelona, Spain, who led the study. The settlement of the New World is better explained by considering a continuous influx of people from Asia. The new study is reported in this week's issue of the science journal Nature and could further fuel the controversy surrounding the origins of the first Americans, which is a controversial issue for American Indians in particular. Number 1. Siberian population vanishes. A genetic study has revealed the existence of a previously unknown hunter-gatherer group that lived in Siberia upwards of 10,000 years ago. Researchers investigating prehistoric DNA have discovered a mysterious group of hunter-gatherers that lived in Siberia perhaps more than 10,000 years ago. The find was made during a genetic investigation of human remains in North Asia, dating from as far back as 7,500 years ago. The study also revealed that gene flow of human DNA not only traveled from Asia to the Americas Awos, as was previously known, Awos, but also in the opposite direction, meaning people were moving back and forth like ping-pong balls along the Bering Land Bridge. Furthermore, the team examined the remains of an ancient shaman who lived about 6,500 years ago in western Siberia. This spot is more than 900 miles and 1/500 kilometers west of the group that he had genetic ties with, according to the new genetic analysis. North Asia, particularly the area stretching from western to northeastern Siberia, was pivotal in humanity's trek across the globe. Previous work has shown that the first people to arrive in the Americas since at least 13,000 years ago likely came either across or along the coast of the land bridge that once connected North Asia with North America. This corridor, known as Beringia, is now flooded by the Bering Strait.
That's it for today. We will meet with another interesting topic very soon.